Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today, Aaron Rivera, sportscaster for ProView Networks. And Aaron, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Steve. Always fun.
You know what? It's all a last-minute thing, but it's something that we need to talk about ProView and kind of talk about last week first, and then we'll get to about this week, some of the games you did, some of the things you've seen, and what we're looking forward to this week.
Well, last week it was just kind of exciting because we got to see multiple sports, with the fall season. It's not just about football. I know a lot of people think about football, but there's also volleyball, there's also soccer going on, and we got to do all three sports last week as ProView, me personally as well. But, we got to cover Academy. We got down to Rio Rancho and had Rio Rancho St. Pius. Plus we saw the defending state champions for boys A3A, Sandia Prep, have their first game of the season against St. Pius. So there's a lot of fun action last week in that soccer game. I mean, went to overtime. St. Pius is trying to build off of the momentum they had last year. They got a young team. They take Sandia Prep into overtime, and St. Pius was able to put it down in the end and get the win. But I mean, great, exciting start to the soccer season for ProView Sports.
Well, that's one thing that you brought to the table for ProView is, it's probably one of the things that we were lacking in the first probably 10 years of the existence of ProView. And with your excitement and things, you really, you've done if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you did the 5A, 4A, and 3A. You almost did all the soccer championships last year?
I actually did do all the soccer championships last year. The year before, I think I did 2 out of 6 or something along those lines, and I've been doing 2 out of 6 for most of the years that I've been here. But yeah, soccer's such an exciting sport, and it's the toughest part is just having a way to film it, because usually it's just kind of at regular fields. But being able to sit there and watch and see these athletes come out, because so many of them go on to the next level, and it's really exciting in New Mexico because soccer is one of the most popular sports in the state.
You make a great point on, that's one more reason Pius, they have great facilities, and then also Academy. And it makes it, easy, from my viewpoint, it's great because our equipment's kind of protected.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing with, Academy, Pius, great places to film, also always have good teams, so it's really helps out in that regard too. When you're talking about Albuquerque Academy boys soccer has won the last 2 state championships. The girls have won 2 championships in the last, I think, 3 or 4 years, COVID notwithstanding. And then, same with Pius. Their girls were just in the state championship. Their boys are pushing for it again. Of course, their head coach is an All-American, 4-time state champ as a player. So always great facilities to be able to, and great teams to be able to watch there. And then same when we talk about their, where we can go watch them play volleyball, because tonight we're going to have Albuquerque Academy volleyball here on 26, Comcast 26, ProView Network. So, be able to see those teams and be able to see the players out there, the kids putting in there all for the fall season is really exciting.
And I want to say you're a first, and I may be off of getting the games on Comcast Channel 26 on the soccer. I don't know that before you came that before you started with us that we ever did a Comcast. We always probably re-aired them, but we never did one live.
Well, so we haven't, I don't think yet, done 26 live for soccer. I think we're working on doing that this season.
Oh, we have. I thought we did a few because I watched a few last year. So
maybe we did. It's. Oh yeah, we did do Academy Rio Rancho.
So I want to say that was
it's been a long set of seasons.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. I mean, Alden for coming through back there on the things. But I just want volleyball is big, and to you've done some state championship volleyball too. So but you also done football and done baseball and done a few things. So you're getting to be well talented and well appreciated.
Well, that's one of the fun things to do is all of the sports, and a lot of people will be the voice of, one sports program at a college or the sport of one professional team. And so you spend your entire summer doing baseball, you spend your entire winter doing hockey, whereas, here at ProView, we can do all the sports. So it's, Tuesday soccer, Wednesday volleyball, Thursday, Friday, Saturday football, or maybe Saturday end up doing another soccer game. Or, I think last year for Albuquerque Academy's homecoming, it was 2 soccer games and a football game all in the same day. And this year, from what I've looked at their homecoming, it looks like it's 2 soccer games, a volleyball game, and a football game. So, you can get every single sport here at ProView. It's not just a couple of them, and it's a real variety, and you can see just all the talent and all the stuff that this state has to offer.
Well, not only high school, we also have college, and you've done some college basketball for Highlands, and you've done some baseball for UNM. I mean, you've got building a nice little resume. Try to.
In fact, mentioning that, we were just up there, me and Alden, who's producing today, we were just up in Highlands, and Fred Slow, who's the voice of Highlands, actually had some of the basketball players that we covered last year, you and I, when we were up in Highlands, working in the booth with us. And it was kind of cool seeing those kids, being involved in the program, helping to get stats and everything else to help, bolster the broadcast, everything that was going on up there. And speaking of Highlands, that soccer field was a fantastic facility that they have, and just the ability for us to be able to broadcast those games. Their basketball field's great, the baseball field's great, softball. I mean, everything there is fantastic. But
let's keep on that line of thought right there with Highlands, and this week, first football game, Thursday night.
Super exciting.
6 o'clock Eastern New Mexico, which is going to be, it is a rivalry game or in-state rivalry game that a lot of people, I'm looking forward to. It's going to be on Comcast Channel 26. Fred Slow is going to be announcing it. It's going to be, you talk about facilities, at Highland, they're nice. I mean, if you're a sports person that think that you've been under-recruited, you can go up there and make a name for yourself, and there's good things that happen after you graduate.
Yeah, and you talk, the facilities themselves, that football field, it's a D2, and, there's a lot of connotations with what D2 means, but it's a big, beautiful turf field. I mean, it looks like all the kind of state-of-the-art facilities that you would expect out of any other place. And, you're up in Las Vegas, which is a nice little town, and you have a chance to be a star when you're playing up there. When you go to talk about some of the SEC programs or something like that, there's a ton of stars there, so it's hard to shine. But when it's a place like New Mexico Highlands, talent's going to stand out. So even if everybody else is very good, if you are massively talented, you're going to stand out, and you're going to have the chance to be a star and kind of carry a team or something along those lines if you really want to and have the drive to do it.
I'll tell you what, Aaron, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to the top 10 plays of the week, Dream Style top 10 plays of the week, and come back and talk more about ProView and yourself and some things coming up this week.
Brody, we'll talk about that at halftime. So keep this one on the ground. Takes a nice high hop. Oh, my head of Montoya. Wow.
A couple of yards difference from where everything started here. Searmans drops back. He's got some time. He's going to go forward. He's rushing through for a first down. Searmans, even with the ball being threatened, he's still moving. Can anything stop this kid? He's up to the 3-yard line, a 24-yard gain on third down.
Set it down. Memento quickly. Oh, what a ball. He's got to find his man, and he does. Touchdown, Sanchez. Wide open. Love the play design there.
Ball starts and led to a first down and 24 onto it. He's unleashing this one, looking for Baca in the end zone. Touchdown. And you cannot count out the Tigers as they flip the field. We might see a pass here as Los Lunas has a lot of men stacked inside. He lets it go before being hit and sliding down, intercepted. That's going to be a slip, and the Los Lunas Tigers will get this ball back on the plate. Dominic Trujillo lost it earlier, kind of slowed down his momentum. Hunter Garcia back. He's going to unleash, and could be another interception. It is. It's the same man, Dominic Trujillo.
From his defense.
Especially as well as Rivera tackles.
Tabooey, he gets free towards the sideline. See you later. Touchdown, Gabriel Bowie. Armenta, 3rd and long. He's been under pressure a lot. This one is up for grabs. A hole throw, and it is going to go all the way for the interception and touchdown. Rams on the board first.
He knocks down Carter with the left hook to start round 4.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. Special guest again is Aaron Rivera. Aaron Rivera, Highlands, great facilities. Andrew Ealing is doing a great job up there. New coach, we got, like I said, football coach, and I want to speak on him for just a few minutes. But Coach Hudson, what a resume! 30 years of coaching, and it's not big time programs. It's amazing that they're fortunate to have him coming off a 5-6 record last year, and that may not sound great, but if you look at the history of football at the New Mexico Highlands, sometimes they're fortunate to win a game in 1 year.
Oh, I know. And, well, they've got a lot of talent up there, and we've seen it we cover the Gladiators, and this year, after some injuries, Ramon ended up stepping in, who was a New Mexico Highlands graduate. And
he picked up after the first game.
Yeah, I know.
He had a rough first game, but after that, he stepped up.
But, it's a real just shows you the talent that's up there in Las Vegas, because he comes in there for indoor football and almost leads that team. They made the playoffs this year, so he led that team really successfully, and just shows you the kind of talent that's up there for Coach Hudson and that the football team does bring to the field. So, it's always good to watch the Highlands football, and, being able to see it on Comcast 26 also really helps, because a lot of times that's kind of, local sports will get buried because it might not make it on TV, but we're getting them up. We're making sure that everybody can watch those games, so Highlands gets the sort of focus that they want to get and that, they deserve to get.
Well, we're jumping around everywhere, but while we're on football, we're also doing on Saturday. We're going down to Western, and we're going to be highlighting their program on Saturday.
Yeah, a little bit of options for them too. It's nice to see. So we got the people up north, we got the people down south. Of course, Eastern New Mexico is making it on there. So I think, Northern New Mexico is the only school I can think of that we're not covering this weekend, since we're also doing UNM later this weekend.
We're actually doing on my 50 for anybody at 6 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to be doing the production for the UNM for the Mountain West and be statewide television.
Yeah, but so make sure, folks at home, you need to have 2 TVs, okay? You need to have one that's on the main UNM game. You need to have one that's on the Western Adams State game, because they're both going to be awesome. They're both produced by us, which is twice as fun. So you're going to want to be watching both of those, and then since you have those 2 TVs set up, you can just leave one on ProView forever after that.
Well, and like I said, that's just great, unbelievable. You know what? I just thought we're in the whole state. We're in the northern, southern, so we're an equal opportunity company. We're covering the whole, except for Eastern, and we're covering Eastern too. So
we're covering Eastern, and don't forget on My 50 on Friday night, we're also covering Farmington versus Los Lunas. So we're even reaching all the way up to San Juan County up there. So it's really statewide the kind of coverage that we're getting, which is kind of fun. And that one's going to be an exciting game. I'm really looking forward to watch that one. I know I'll be up at Highlands watching soccer early in the day, but I'm going to be tuning in to watch Farmington, Los Lunas, the two teams that went from 5A, moving up to 6A. Now they're going to be, the spotlight's on them. Hey, you're playing with the big boys now. You're in the big, the big class. How can you guys show up?
Coach Hennington, doesn't get to repeat as state champion. He don't get a chance to try to win 2 in a row. So he's just going to move up to 6A and try to win 1 and 5 and 6. I don't know if that's ever happened. So.
I don't think anybody's done that, and especially not back-to-back years. It would be super impressive if he was able to do that. I mean, it already meant a lot for Los Lunas to get that state championship. It meant a lot for him to get a state championship, match his dad. He did joke with me when I was talking to him earlier in the season. He said, now the goal is to get one more than my dad, get another state championship. If they did it at 6A, that would be, certainly one of the biggest sports stories in the state in 5-6 years.
Well, what I'm saying with his background and his demeanor and what he's doing at Los Lunas, that's not unrealistic task.
No, it's not. I have them.
With the way Los Lunas is growing as a community and good things are happening down south.
Yeah, and they look competitive. They look like they're going to be fighting with everybody in 6A. The real exciting part of the season is when it starts to get to playoff time. We'll see how they play there, though.
Well, let's jump back up to Highlands on Friday. Friday this week we've got soccer. Is that correct?
Yep, they're playing Lubbock Christian on that. So they just came off of a tough loss to Chaminade out of Honolulu, which that one was for Highlands. The big thing about that is kind of building on their goalkeeper had a really, really strong game. Early on she was facing a lot of shots. There was probably too many one-on-one breakaways for the defense, so they're going to have to work on that. But they know that the goalkeeper gives them a strong base, and when you're talking about soccer, starting with a really good goalkeeper is probably a really good place to start out.
Well, now let's go back down south for last weekend. Let's first of all, Saturday football game at Western. It's going to be on Comcast Channel 26. Ed Nunez has been the voice of the Mustangs now for 3 years, and what a weekend going backwards a little bit. They had a volleyball tournament and had 11 games in 3 days. So, and they were on Comcast last week on Comcast Channel 26.
Yeah, Ed having to go down there for a couple of years. He's made the trip down to Silver. He goes down, covers all the sports for them. The same way that we see up north. Ed goes down there, does all the games down south, and that. We did get the local games, the New Mexico Western games were on Comcast. But yeah, just to be able to, for Western, it's huge to be able to kind of highlight that school and the community within the Lone Star Conference, because they did host that big tournament and they had teams from all over, down there playing. So Western's we talked about how great the facilities are at Highlands. Western has just a beautiful campus as well.
I tell you what, Scott Noble, it's our 3rd year working with Scott, and I tell you what, he is really upgrading the facilities at Western New Mexico, and also, you got Andrew Ealing at Highlands. Class acts, both of them are class acts for the state of New Mexico and what they're doing for New Mexico athletes and for bringing in people. It's go out and support them.
Yeah, what I love about it is that you get to, yesterday we were up there covering some soccer, and I saw Jaquan Hill and I think Jaden Malone from Volcano Vista. Now they're at New Mexico Highlands, but they're sitting there in the stands. So these are big athletes that were big names in this state, are going to be playing in state. We're still going to be able to see them in state. That's the kind of stuff, Western, we've seen repeats there as well. I don't have any off the top of my head as well, but it's just exciting to be able to see local talent play in state and play in front of local fans.
Well, my understanding is you guys put a couple of those guys to work. You put Rogers and also Mario
Mario.
Archuleta from Pecos, Rogers from Tyler Rogers from El Dorado, and Jalen Munn. I mean that's just it's fun to keep up with what they're doing and so we're going to take a break, come back and talk more ProView Network sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and the mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. We got Aaron Rivera here. We've been talking about his career and also talking about the things that ProView Network's done. And, you just kind of enlightened me a little bit. 10 games this week. And I want to say off the top of my head, we did about 14 or 15 games, or maybe even more last week with all the games we did for Western, all the volleyball games.
Yeah, once you start
I know we did 11 games for Western and volleyball last week, plus whatever we did. So we might have hit 20 games last week. And we're on that 10 to 15 games a week, which is no big deal.
I mean, that's the fun part of fall. Like I said, we got some of my favorite sports to cover during the fall, so we do still have those 10. I mean, this week we've got that same kind of just variety of game choices. So tonight we're going to have volleyball. It'll be Academy versus Cleveland. You can catch that here on Comcast 26. Tomorrow night we're going to have La Cueva visiting Rio Rancho for some volleyball. Again, that's going to be on Comcast 26. And then Thursday, I believe, we have another one of the fun rivalry soccer games. So we had St. Pius versus Sandia Prep last week, but this week we're going to have Hope Christian versus St. Pius, which, all the local private schools, anytime that you see them square off in any sport, it's always exciting. And Hope's a fantastic team, a great boys team last year. They pushed almost into the finals. And St. Pius, they showed against Sandia Prep in their first game that's a team on the rise that could really be threatening to make a push. So we've got those exciting games coming up just at the high school level, not even talking about the My 50 game, which we have this week of Farmington Las Lunas.
And Sebastian Noel does the Friday night game, and DC Storm does the color. I mean, they're excited, and here's the thing about it: the Las Lunas, Coach Hennington, you know, I have a little background. His dad coached at Clovis before he went on to Las Cruces to win a state championship. But he was there, and then seeing him win last year, there's kind of a little bit of. He actually had to live in Clovis, so there's a little bit of background. But he's a Clovis Wildcat, so he may not admit that, but it's neat to see how people stay in the state of New Mexico and do those type and contribute and see what he's done for the city of Los Lunas.
Yeah, I mean, just building up that program, there's a lot of excitement for the folks in Los Lunas. You know, we have one or two kids who work with us from Los Lunas, and for them it's, you know, super exciting just to think about going to a Los Lunas game, even if it's working. Like, just to be able to go to those games is exciting for the community. It's just really done a huge thing for the folks down south. For the people that understand how we try to put Western and Highland on Comcast Channel 26. The My 50 is something we pick out, you know, during the week, try to see the best matchup. And like you said, we're covering the whole state. I like that. You got Farmington, and I want to give Farmington a little bit of love, give the 5A a little bit of love, you know, of the great student athletes that play in those programs. And then you can go to the NFHS to see. If it's not on Comcast Channel 26, you can go to ProView Sports and look up, and we have it on a console. And you can see the times and things. And we try to have all that populated up, you know, a week in advance. Yeah, early enough at the very least. We like to let you know by Monday everything that's going to be coming down the line for the rest of the week. I mean, there's, you know, just tons and tons of games. So if you have an afternoon off, you want to watch some soccer, there's usually something live or volleyball, either way. And you can always go back and rewatch some of the ones we did. You know, like last week we had game St. Pius, I think we saw twice against Rio Rancho and Cleveland. We had those soccer games as well. You know, Academy played against Moriarty football. So if you want to go back and watch games, you just go to the NFHS network, find ProView Networks, and all the games that we've done are on there. I mean, going back, Steve, because every now and then, just to kind of check on some of the athletes that are playing now, I'll go back and look. When I first started, we were doing Yaffle games. And I'll go back and be like, wasn't that the kid that played on such and such Yaffle team? And you can go back and still see those games, still find some of the old stuff. So, you know, you just got to go back and look for it. And that's kind of the fun part about it, is you can watch everything that ProView Networks has done. Well, that's actually where you made your debut, was rugby and Yaffle football. Yeah, rugby covering high school and I think college or club, one of the two. But then, yeah, the Yaffle games was the first gig, and that was the best. You know, that was a fun gig. It was a little early in the morning for me, but it was, you know, you get there at 8 o'clock, you get to do 2 football games, and having never done it before, it was exciting to me to be able to, oh, you know, I don't just get one game a week, it's 2 football games, you know, regardless of the level. And I want to speak, you know, talk about one of them now, Leroy. You know, he's been with us almost. I'm going, you know, he started out with Red Menace, okay, and then he's really done a great job of improving his skills as an announcer. And he's doing some volleyball and doing some things. So, you know, and we haven't got Roger Holian in, but trust me, hope next week, you know, we're going to pick up some of their home games. So, yeah, and you know, Leroy, you mentioned him. He's the one who's going to have that Las Cruces. I messed it up before switching them. La Cueva versus Rio Rancho volleyball tomorrow is going to be Leroy covering that, so you can catch him on ProView Networks here. So, and you know, he's always been somebody that I love listening to. Leroy, he's always got something fun to say. Hey, Aaron, thanks for coming on, and we'll do this more. It's fun. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.